It sounds like I'm in a wind.
Send it in.
Good evening, everybody. We'll skip the pleasantries. The Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. They defeat the Edmonton Oilers by a score of 2-1 in Game 7 to win the first Stanley Cup in franchise history. I'm Jake Gibson. That's my friend and co-host, Alex Krutchik, in a car. The car makes a second appearance on the Puckett Send It In podcast.
I'm sitting in the parking lot of the Sawgrass Mills Mall, Jake. I live about 10 minutes away from the arena, and as soon as the clock hit 0, I said to my roommate, I'm leaving, I gotta go. And he's like, where are you going? I don't know. And I just raced over here, going the speed limit, but a very fast 45. The fastest 45 I've ever done.
Sawgrass has got to be the place to be. Is that place open 24 hours?
No, but we're keeping it open. We're keeping it open.
There you go.
I'm at Bahama Breeze, and as soon as that place closes down, I'm going to the infield. And then as soon as that place closes, I don't know what we're doing. Party at Chucky's house? I don't know. We're doing something.
So, oh my God. How do we even start? Here's the thing.
Look up. I'll tell you where to start, Jake.
Okay.
Look up for me real quick. How many shots on goal Connor McDavid had today?
Because as far as I'm concerned, our Conn Smythe winner, Connor McDavid.
I don't care. I don't care that he won Conn Smythe. I don't care. What I was getting at was this was a Paul Maurice blueprint masterclass.
Connor McDavid. Scoring. 2.
Go ahead.
2
shots on goal tonight. That is a Paul Maurice masterclass. We even saw this in Game 6 to an extent. They had stopped McDavid in Game 6. This was just a continuation of that. The only exception is they stopped everyone else too. McDavid had 2 good games in the finals. Greg Cody of the Miami Herald was right. He is not a champion yet. He will be soon. He is the best player of our generation. But for right now, the Florida Panthers shut that man down for 5 out of the 7 games that they played against him.
One comment under some post said Connor McParticipation Trophy, and that just kind of made my day. What does he do? Man, he can't.
They were really banking on Connor McDavid photographs. Photographs of Connor McDavid lifting the cup so they can plaster it everywhere. And when they didn't get that, they were like, let's give him the Conn Smythe. He's not touching that Conn Smythe trophy. I promise you, he's never going to touch it, never going to look at it. It's probably going in his garage.
Mm-hmm. Regardless, I think it was PK that actually talked about this in second intermission. He strongly believed that the winning team should have a participant win the Conn Smythe because they won. They did the hardest thing there is to do in sports. And if that was the case, I think all of hockey was in agreement. If Florida were to have a Conn Smythe winner, it should have been Bobrovsky, who once again played immaculate today. Aside from the one giveaway goal, that was it. And the rest of the defense rallied around him. This was the Panthers team you all saw from games 1 to 3 in some of their finest form as they stopped a hungry Oilers team that quite literally had nothing left to lose with minutes to go in the game.
Yes, and I knew that it was going to be a Sergei Bobrovsky gem of a performance when Edmonton went on the power play pretty early in the game.
Yeah.
And Bobrovsky, remember what we said during the pregame show, Bobrovsky, it's not his fault that they kept giving up all these rushes, but wouldn't it be really nice if he can just show one more game where he makes a big save that you're not supposed to make? Yeah. And he did multiple times on that same power play. That's when I knew, okay, we're getting good Bob tonight.
Mm-hmm. Bob's final stats, for those curious, he faced 24 shots. He made 23 saves. That includes 2 saves on the power play. He only had to make 2 saves on Edmonton's, I think, what they have, 2 power plays. I need to check. Let me pull up the team stats while I'm here. So 2 penalties Actually, they only had one. So only one power. And that was another thing. A beautifully clean game for the Florida Panthers. The only penalty that was called was a very questionable tripping call on Kachuk, who was already sliding. He obviously did not intend to trip the Edmonton player. He fell on his own. He even tried to cover himself. The ref still called it a tripping. I thought it was a terrible call, but the Panthers PK, once again, amazing.
Even the official that they have on the broadcast to sometimes they can be accused of shilling for the league. Even he said that it shouldn't have been a tripping, but whatever. Look, Bob made some fantastic saves tonight. This isn't about the Conn Smythe. This isn't about the tripping penalty. What I was getting at with the Connor McDavid thing, even though it is ridiculous that he's the Conn Smythe winner, but what I was getting at was this was a blueprint game. And I should have said it on the pregame show because I was saying it to everyone who would listen to me over the last 72 hours. I don't know how I didn't say it in the pregame show. This is a blueprint game. You played like shit over the last 3 games. Not even games where you look like the Panthers, but sometimes you just lose. No, you played horribly. We heard about this Paul Maurice defense, this Paul Maurice playoff-style hockey. We saw it tonight. 2-1, like you mentioned. The only goal Bob gave up was on a stretch pass. According to a couple people on Twitter, it didn't count as a rush, but whatever. It was a very hard shot to stop, but other than that, he played fantastic. The 2 guys that we said need to step up that have been invisible, Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart, both big.
They were your goal scorer.
They listened to the podcast.
They clearly listened. They took it all in. Verhaeghe also with an assist. What can we say? Verhaeghe turned into prime Stanley Cup Final Verhaeghe as again one of the biggest games of his life, and he delivered. I think so. Reinhardt also with a goal. I mean, it's fun. Yeah, both of these players were called out by the media. They were called out by Panthers fans, by you and I, that they needed to bring more into this game, and that's exactly what they did.
By the way, on the Sam Reinhart goal, Dmitry Kulikov, there was a loose puck next to the goal line. Bobrovsky didn't know that it was there. Nobody knew it was there. Dmitry Kulikov, a Florida Panther from the beginning, not literally the beginning, but the beginning of our hockey watching time, back in 2009 and 10. I'm so happy that he had a moment in this series because he's been a pretty good 6th defender this season. The fact that he has a moment, and I hope it doesn't get overshadowed by the goal itself, as silly as that sounds. Yeah. I hope people recognize how great of a play that was, because it could have been 2 at that point. It would have been 2-1.
Daniel says, "Let's go Cats! What a night, and I love you all." Thank you.
I love you too, Daniel. By the way, I knew that they were going to win as soon as the Marlins lost. I was on a stream with my other outlet, Fish on First. Go follow them.
Shout out Fish on First.
Shout out Fish on First, and shout out Daniel Rodriguez, who's the host of that show. And our managing editor, Eli Sussman, brought up the fact that the Marlins and the Panthers haven't won on the same night since...
I was just about to mention that. Weirdest stat.
Okay. Let me find it. Where is it? Okay. It's been more than a month since the Marlins and Panthers last won on the same day. And so I knew once the Marlins lost,
they got smoked, didn't they?
I don't know. I don't care. I did see 3 different home run notifications pop up on my phone during the second period.
All right. They lost. Damn, what was the final score? What the hell? I think it was 8-1. It doesn't matter. I was literally thinking that myself.
8-1. I never want to hear 8-1 again. By the way, Jake, you know what's great about all this? Yeah. Up until you said 8-1, I totally forgot that they blew a 3-0 lead. I forgot they blew a 3-0 lead. And I guarantee you, at the parade on Sunday, by the way, the parade's going to be
Sunday. I was about to say, it's on Sunday. It was confirmed by the mayor.
No one's going to remember the 3-0 blow up.
That's
no
a thing
one.
In the past.
Congratulations, Panthers. You did it.
They did
You did it. We did it.
Yeah. I mean, we went to our fair share of games. We talked to the players and the coaches, and we've seen it all. And some more stats here. Edmonton actually ended up with more shots on goal, 24-29. I think the majority of that can be due from their second period, like the beginning of the second period where they really kicked things up. Florida was the aggressor in the start of the game. Edmonton wounded it up in the second period, but they still did not get a score. And then in the third period, Florida just kept back, played their forecheck was good, but it went down to their absolutely stellar defense. Their defense tonight was some of the best defense I've ever seen in a hockey game.
Here's how good it was, Jake.
Yeah.
It was sort of bend, don't break. We've seen this defense set it up so that the opposition barely has any offensive zone time. Today was kind of weird because they let Edmonton get a lot of zone time, especially in the second period. If I have my numbers right, I think Edmonton, with all of the offensive zone time that they had in the second period, they had 1 high danger scoring chance. They had 5 scoring chances total. Just a tremendous, tremendous game from them.
So, and by the way, not to knack on Edmonton more because I don't hate Edmonton. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for them. It's not the choice I would have made, but congratulations to McDavid on winning the Conn Smythe, blah, blah, blah. Those last 2 minutes of hockey for Edmonton were absolutely brutal. The fact that they got almost zilch shots on goal. They had no aggression. They had some aggression, but overall, those last 2 minutes of Edmonton in Game 7 were absolutely brutal to watch from a hockey standpoint. They just had absolutely no answers for the Florida Panthers. Alex disconnected for a real sec, but here he is. Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on how Edmonton performed those last 2 minutes of the game?
They looked tired. Like, they just looked really tired. The Panthers wore them down. We've been telling people, I want to say, if I have the math correct, this is the 106th total game for the Panthers this season.
Yeah.
We've heard every single game, the Panthers will wear you down, but not in the cardiac cats kind of way, where like they play like shit for the first period or two. No, they play well the whole game, but they get even better as the game goes on, and they just wear you down. They make you tired. And Edmonton was exhausted. Yeah. You know how exhausted you have to be to not – it's 2 minutes left in the Stanley Cup Final, Game 7. You're only down by 1. You have an extra skater on the ice. Even then, Edmonton couldn't conjure up enough energy to get their legs under them for 2 more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much the Panthers wore them down.
It's just like that. The hockey capital of the world is none other than Sawgrass Mills. It's funny. Of all the players,
we're gonna put like a 10XL jersey on the Sawgrass Alligators.
Is it weird that I've never been there? I've never been to Sawgrass Mills. Can you believe that? Well, what's the go-to place first when you go to Sawgrass?
Bahama Breeze. I don't know if they still have the California Pizza Kitchen. Yard House. Rainforest Cafe is a big one. I don't know if that's a pregame spot, but it's a spot. Food court. Yeah, I haven't been either in a while. I'm only here right now because I have to be part of the ambiance.
Nate Karsmer says, "Happy for you, Crutchick. Sunday we ride."
Absolutely. And then Daniel Rodriguez asked, "What does this mean for the future of Florida hockey?" So this is the 3rd time in 5 years that a team from Florida has won the Stanley Cup. Tampa's won 2 in the last 5 years, and then we just won tonight. I think it legitimizes you. I think it legitimizes you that you can win here, that players aren't just coming here to retire and get one last paycheck before they ride off into the sunset in the warm weather climate. Like, guys come here to ring chase now.
That's what Maurice said post game. He said it's a family here. They all care about each other. They want to win. Bill Zito has done such an amazing job assembling a world-class team from the bottom of a roster, on the bottom of a staff, all the way to the top with the players. That trade between Tkachuk, that trade for Tkachuk between them and Calgary will be one of the greatest trades in Panthers history. I mean, maybe at the time a lot of people thought negatively about it, but Tkachuk has come in and has sent Florida to 2 straight Stanley Cup Finals, and the way this Panthers team has been assembled over the course of these last 2-3 years, not to mention you have some of the returning veteran players like Bobrovsky, Barkov, and Ekblad. It's just a mesh of premium talent, and like you said, players that want to win, and they have what it takes to win, and we saw that tonight. I mean, if this Florida team, their defense could have beaten anybody in hockey tonight. They were that damn good.
It's just awesome. I'm so glad. Not only did they win, but they won it in the way that the blueprint said they would win it. Defense, goaltending, and very, very timely goals. And it was from your 2 best pure goal scorers.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing. Just amazing. I'm so happy.
I'm
so happy for Bob. I'm happy for Bob. I'm happy for Barkov. I'm happy for Tkachuk. I'm so happy for Okposo. Okposo got the cup third.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Okposo, he's been through hockey hell, just like Kulikov. He's been through hockey hell.
He had to play in Buffalo for like 10 years. I mean, that's
a full decade of having to play in that city. My God.
I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
And now, and again, I feel like the happiest I was to see Barkov hoist the cup, a player that has represented the team for as long as he has. He's been a Panther since day one, and he along with a few others have seen some absolutely gut-wrenching moments in Panthers history. When they fired Brunette, when they fired when they lost last year, and when they got swept by Tampa,
when they left Gerard Gallant waiting for a taxi cab outside of Raleigh.
It's been a last bet and then when there were no fans in the seats at games at that stadium. He's been through it all. So
I know so many things about Quebec City because of this goddamn team and the relocation rumors. Like, I know so much about Halifax, about all of these places that they wanted to move us to. But you know what? No. South Florida is a hockey hotbed. People love hockey down here.
It's become a hockey city, It really has. Consistent success these last few years. The Heat, Dolphins, and Marlins are all vying for that, And how great is it now that every one of the 4 major pro sports teams, even Inter Miami, they won that Champions League Cup or whatever, have a major title that they can fall back on. We don't know what the Panthers will look like next year. That's for another episode. But this is something that they'll never take away from this team, that they went through the NHL gauntlet, the playoff run of hell, going up against Tampa, Boston, New York, and Edmonton to win this cup, and they did it. It wasn't in the way we all thought they would. We both predicted Panthers in 6. If you were to tell us that Florida were to win this cup a week ago, if you told us that Florida won the cup by going up 3-0, losing that series lead, and then winning it in a dramatic Game 7, I thought you'd be out of your mind. I wouldn't be shocked that it went to 7. I didn't think, none of us thought it would happen that way. But I mean, just good on the Panthers. They this is something that we'll never forget.
And another thing before I run out of here, 10 years from now, you'll always be able to say that they defeated Connor McDavid. Like, Connor McDavid's going to be first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm sure he's going to win a cup before he retires. Like, he's going to be known as the best player of this generation and possibly all generations. And we will always be able to say that the Panthers beat him.
The Panthers got the best of Connor McGhost. in the Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. We're not knacking on him. He's an amazing player. You obviously want him on your team, but like I said, like we talked about, when you take McDavid out of the equation like the Panthers did tonight, there's not a whole lot else this Edmonton team can really give you when their backs are against the wall. So you said you were going to open up a bottle of champagne, Alex. Is that in the bubbly? Is that waiting for you somewhere?
It's so what happened was I wound up buying like a sweet treat dessert for me as comfort food for just in case they lost tonight. So what's nice is they wound up winning. So now I get a victory treat. So I'm going to go have some muffins from Publix.
Nice. Publix Bakery always hits late at night.
It's always great.
It's always great. What would you have done if they had lost, hypothetically speaking?
I would have just gone to sleep and probably, I don't know. Well, I would have eaten the muffins first.
Okay, well, yeah, they would have. They help in putting you to sleep, you know.
I would have taken a cold shower because I would have felt like I don't deserve hot water. I would have, taken a cold shower. I would have gone to sleep and listened to a non-sports podcast just to distract me. But it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we can't give a full breakdown of the game now, right? We're in our feelings, as Drake would say. And look, at the end of the day, you just need to know that the Florida Panthers we saw tonight were the best representation of how good this team can be from when you saw them go up 3-0 in games 1, 2, and 3. They weren't out. There was never a feeling of desperation for this team, even when they went on that 3-game losing streak, because as I said in the episode prior to this game, we haven't seen Florida at their most desperate yet, because this is the first time all season that if they don't win, they're not going to win the championship, you know? So just an amazing performance by Florida tonight. It'll be talked about for a long, long time how Florida's defense took down the Tom Brady of hockey, or maybe the Wayne Gretzky of modern-day hockey. And now they've cemented themselves and it took 30 years for Florida to do it, but they have finally done it, and they did it earlier than Canada's been waiting for a Stanley Cup winner.
So wait, was it okay? Do I have my math correct? The Panthers became a franchise, were a terrible franchise for a little while, became better, and then won a cup all before Canada could do it. Like, Canada won a Stanley Cup, and after that, the Panthers went through the entire birthing process of a franchise and then won a Stanley Cup 30 years later.
Montreal won the Stanley Cup in 1993. The Florida Panthers became a team in 1994.
Well, it was 93, but they became a team in 93, 94. So did Montreal win it in 92, 93?
Montreal won it. Let me double check here, okay? The 1993 Stanley Cup Finals, consisting of the Montreal Canadiens beating the Los Angeles Kings in 5 games. It was part of the 1992-93 season.
There you go. So Canada won a Stanley Cup, and then before they could win another one, the Florida Panthers were created, made it to a Stanley Cup, were terrible for the next 20 years, made it to a Stanley Cup again, lost, made it to a Stanley Cup again, and then won it. All before Canada could win another cup.
What does that say? That the new hotbed for hockey in the planet resides in the Sunshine State, where there's no snow, there's no ice. I don't know how they're ever going to do an outdoor game here, but this is where it's at. And Alex, I still don't think it happened. Is it weird? I still don't think the Panthers have won the Stanley Cup. It hasn't really sunk in completely yet.
Yeah, it'll hit me tomorrow.
It'll hit me tomorrow when I do my Publix run. I have to grab a few things at Publix tomorrow, but my God, it's actually over. That all this hard work that you and I did, Alex, go into these games, reporting them, and obviously starting this podcast, which again, we can't thank you all enough for watching and supporting us and supporting a little project that's turned out to be what I think is really great Panthers coverage that we're proud of. And the fact that it happened on the same year that the Panthers, a team that Alex and I just non-media wise, we desperately love, that they've been able to do it. So it's an amazing feeling. We can't thank you all for tuning in. I don't know when the next episode of Puck It will be. Maybe it'll be like before or after the parade, where we'll talk about some of the players Florida needs to re-sign or look for in the trade market. I know Boston made a big trade with someone prior to this game. The draft, I think, is on Thursday, Alex? Can you confirm?
Yep.
So, Alex, any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
No, just it's been a very exciting season. I'm so excited for everything that's going to happen between now and Sunday when the parade is, and just it's been a great year.
We will be spending a lot of dollars on merchandise, but it's well worth it. I can finally buy a puck that says Stanley Cup champions on it. Like, my Lord. Alrighty, Alex. Until next time, the Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup. They've beat Edmonton by a score of 2-1 in Game 7. So everyone, as hard as it's going to be, try to get some sleep tonight. Maybe go out and celebrate, buy some gear, do all the fun stuff tomorrow. And until our next episode, let's go home, baby, with the cup.